Can you guess the brand this car belongs to? Confused? Well, so were we when we saw this car for the very first time in the flesh. This is the all-new Tata Zeekr hatchback, and Tata has put a lot of effort to make this car look good. But is this car all about the looks, or does it perform well too? We find in our show today. While most of the Tata cars can't be defined as good looking, the Zeekr is an exception here. The design team had a tough job to make Zeekr stand out of the crowd, and they have done it thoughtfully. Take for example the new 3D Tata logo here, or the smoked headlamps here. Also, there are a lot of hexagonal elements here.
The lines here are sharper and striking, making it look younger. The racing body line accentuates a sporty stance on the side. The rear profile, though not exciting as the front, gives the car an interesting character.
Another element is the baby spoiler here, which is meant for the aerodynamic purposes. Practicality is one of the deciding factors when a customer decides to buy a compact hatchback, and the boot of Zeekr is 242 liters in the volume. Now, given the shape of the Zeekr, it is nice and squarish with minimum suspension intrusion here, which means you can load in those big luggage here. Now compare it with some of the products from one segment up, like the Hyundai Grand i10. It has a boot capacity of 256 liters, so a good job done by Tata Motors. Another thing to point out here is there is a lot of detailing gone to put in those small items which you otherwise throw in the boot. Like for example, this can be put in the pocket here. There's a space for toolkit. And then there are these hangers which can take a load up to 3 kgs. So another fine example of engineering done by Tata Motors in the Zeekr. So here we are inside the cabin of the Tata Zeekr, which comes finished with this black, grey and orange shade. Now remember, this orange AC vents are color coded to the exterior shade. So since we are driving an orange car, this is the orange AC vents. Otherwise speaking, the material quality used this time in the Zeekr is of decent build, though we feel that the lower body panel have to be improved a lot.
The clutter-free design grabs the attention here with all the bells and whistles in place. It gets a Harman sound system with 8 speakers and an Android Power navigation system. While the Zeekr don't get an automatic climate control, the cool glove box is an added touch. The steering wheel is the traditional 3-spoke design which you get in Bolt and Safari and feels nice to hold. The instrument cluster is easy to read and shows a lot of information.
In terms of practicality, Tata Zeekr comes with 22 cubby holes. Yes, you heard it right, 22 cubby holes. Tata has this whole aero theme going in the design of the seats here, which you can see on the fabric used for building the seats here. In terms of the comfort level, the seats have ample cushioning, and we particularly like to speak about the under thigh support, which is very good. And the side bowstring is enough to hold you during those curves. So here we are at the rear seats of the Tata Zeekr, and while the headroom and the legroom is decent enough, there is not ample space in terms of the shoulder room, which means that seating 3 adults will be a problem here. And also there's a big central tunnel here on the floorboard. In terms of practicality, there's a bottle holder here and a bottle holder here. But Tata forget to give the magazine holder, which can be a nice touch in a compact hatchback. Otherwise, the rear seats are a decent enough place in the Tata Zeekr. Well, there are 2 engines on offer in the new Zeekr. There's a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder Revotron engine, which is essentially the trimmed down version of the normal Revotron engine, which is on offer in the Bolt and the Zest. This engine produces 85 PS of power and 114 Nm of torque. Now on paper, 85 PS might seem to be a good number. In the real world, it doesn't translate to a good performance. I would rather say you go with the diesel engine, which comes to the point that the diesel engine is a 1.05 litre Revotorq engine, which is a completely new engine and produces 70 PS of power and 140 Nm of torque. Speaking about the platform of the car, this is the same XO platform from the IndyCar, but heavily tuned to get the best NVH levels. And Tata has done a really commendable jobs in terms of the NVH level, because be it a speed of 50 km per hour or be it the speed of 100 km per hour, there is very less noise coming inside the cabin. Another first in the segment is the driving modes, which we have already seen in the Bolt and the Zest. Now while Bolt and the Zest get 3 modes, the Zeekr here gets 2 modes, the city mode and the eco mode. When you start the car starts in the city mode, which gives you a balance between the performance and the efficiency. But when you switch to the eco mode, it gives you a better efficiency figures. But then you have to compromise on the performance part, and since the petrol engine has already very less torque, it can be a bit of difficulty if you are going on hilly terrains.
In terms of handling, the traditional 3-spoke steering felt heavier than nimble, which is an advantage on the highway drives. The steering helps you drive with confidence even at a speed higher than 90 to 100 km per hour. The 5-speed manual gearbox has short shifts as well as small gear ratio, which means while shifting gear is an easy affair, you have to do it more often to keep the car in the right speed band, which can be a bit of hassle in traffic. The suspension on the Zeekr is tuned nicely and you don't feel most of the bumps coming inside the cabin. To test the suspension, we drove the Zeekr on some of the harsh surfaces as well as the smooth roads.
The noise isolation inside the cabin is good as compared to some of the previous Tata products. Well, first things first, Tata Motors has really outdone themselves with the Zeekr hatchback. Not only it looks good, it has a smart cabin, refined NVH levels and a zippy engine. This can very well be your next car if you are looking for a compact hatchback. A sure shot winner from our side.